So, hi everybody and welcome back to the C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 28 and in this video we solve our exercise, and there are different versions, and yeah, there is not one right version, but I want to solve it with a repeat of all the things what we learned so far. And let's get started. So first of all, we start with our int main. Okay, we have it already here. That's nice. And I know that I will have a body and I will write my code here at start. Good. The next thing is I need a plan. Normally I need a plan before I start at all, but in our case, we wrote here a plan. I wrote here a plan. Of course, you could make your own one. And this plan must be not perfect. It must be just, it gives you a direction, what you made, what you want to make. But there is one thing which is very important when you make a plan. And the plan, the part which is important is the goal, the task, the end result. And this one you should define here, because all the other steps will lead to this end result, which can be changed, which can be added, which can be deleted, but the end result must be defined normally at the start. And I have decided defined it here, but not perfect. Let's read it. I said here I want compare two players, okay, scores, and write it in my best list if they are top 10, but I forgot here one step, which I wrote here on the bottom. I want print out top 10 best list. So this one should be here on top 2 normally, because this is our end result. This I want show the customer, the other players or the other persons, not me myself. So let's write it here, and print them out. And you see it is just a prototype, which means random. It must be not perfect, just that I have the idea. This is my task. I want compare two players scores and write it in my best list if they are top 10 and print them out. Of course, is all still not perfect specified, but in our case it's okay. And all the other tasks which comes now must be not perfect. We can add them, we can delete them, we can change them, but they must lead to this end result. That's very important. So that said, let's continue. We try now to convert this plan, these comments in code. Let's get started. I want that they enter their names. So how we made that they enter their names? We use something like inputs, right? Say in and so. All right, let's write it just fast. Must be not perfect, just anything. Say in, okay. And I want enter them, but we have here problems. Of course, I must create variables. Okay, then I create variables, and we said we are creating variables on top. This one I will delete later, should just stay here in a moment so I see what I have not made, because I want to use here all those things here in our program. Let's go in. So let's create variables. So I said I want enter their names, so which means I need to enter their names, which means I need words, and we know words are strings, right? String type. This is this string type with the word restriction, and now their names. So then I say player name 1, because I don't know their names. They should. One is the player name 1, and I have nothing assigned here. And then I can make here one more. And there is one more trick how you can assign here. I have not showed you that, I think, but I show you now. You can make here, I think, a comma, and then say player name 2. And this one is using this string for the first one and then for the second one. I'm not sure, but perhaps, and if it's wrong, we will see it. but this will work, I think. If not, you make it just like this one here again. So let's continue. So, okay, I have their names, but I want that they enter their names. Okay, they will enter their names here, but here's again our thing, what we learned. We have to give on screen a message that they should enter the name. And how we did this? It was with std cout, right? Std cout, and then we say here, and then one by one, player one, please enter your name. All right, and then we make something like so, and then we say the player name 1 here, and then oops, that's wrong. That was absolute wrong. Please enter your name, and let's make here, that's okay, a new line. Did we need a new line? We don't need a new line. After this one, the player player 1 should enter his name, and then we write here player name 1, and then this will be saved here in my player name 1. Perfect. After this one, I want that the player name 2 should enter his name. Okay, copy this one. This is the same. That's why I reuse the code. This is called reusing, because don't type all thing out if you can reuse, but you have to change some values here. I change this one. I change this one, and perfect. But here's a problem. We have used std cout 10. What we said, when we use this one, we need a library which is already included. We need first this library for std out for output stream and input stream. Okay, I have it included. And for string, which I created here, I need the string library. Very important. Okay, we have this here included. All right, that's perfect. Then we continue. So I think we have this one, and I don't know if this is working right now. That's why I test it. All time test your code. If there is any compiler errors, perhaps this one was not right? But till now it shows no error. Oops, oops. I could enter my name. I have clicked it away. Sorry. Coda, Power Superman. All right. Cool. But there is a problem. There is a problem. No, there's not a problem. It's all fine. Okay. And let's continue. Then I want that they enter their scores. They played a game, which we don't simulate it here. We just take their scores. So with let's say they played anywhere a game, or they made anything, and they have scores, they should enter their scores. So this is the same like here. The only thing which changes is actually this type, this string. We want not have now names, words, we want now numbers, and score we make full numbers, we use int. So that's a very easy to handle with reusing the code. We just write here, okay, I need now something like int, and then score for player, well, 4 is not really needed, this for score player 1. Score player 1, and then I use this comma again, score player 2. So now I know this one belongs to player number 1, and this one score. Normally I could write here also score player name 1, and so on. Then it's even more connective, because then you know exactly. Let's do it. Score player name, because then we exactly know which score this is and to which we connect it. Then we don't think too much later. Player name 2. So that's better. Score player name 2, because now it's connected. We see exactly this one belongs to this one. This one, very easy trick. We copy this again. All. I paste it here. I compile, net compile. Copy with C, Control C and Control V, standard. But now I just change here the name and write in front score. That's why I use that. Makes the life easy and good. It works. And of course we have changed here our text too. Okay, player 1, please enter your score. We write here score this time. All right, and here we write Elsa score. Perfect. So we have covered this one. Of course, we test this again. All time testing. Let's see what happens. Okay, I have my coder for Superman, and then the coder have a score of 100, and Superman have 200, and till now no error. Perfect, very nice. One more thing, this one was already here, this get char. This was our pause screen function, which I explained to you that you just use it for later exe files. Of course, when you use this one, the library for this one was this cstd io. That's very important. I forget that I have it here on the bottom. And we continue. So, okay, I have now this one. Let's go to the next line. Here I want to compare the scores with my database best list. So here I need a database best list, which means I have to create a database, but right now I have not a database. And there are different ways to create, and very easy one, very complex one, and so on. In my case, I make very important, we have here defined on top 10. So at least I need a database with 10 entries. For this starter example, it's okay that we create them one by one. But later we will have to create them also automatically. But in this case, I will create them, let's say, directly, right? And how we create directly a data list. First of all, which type, which restriction I need. It says here I want to compare their score, so I need again numbers because I compare their scores. Scores are numbers with my database, and so I need a database with numbers in my best list. Let's do this first and let's see if we have to change that perhaps later, because later it comes here something interesting. So let's create this fast. Okay, how we create a database in there are different ways, but at start we learn something int, right? We need the numbers, but then we learned something like database, right? In database, but we can make now an array. And how we create an array? We make here square brackets, right? And very important, we have now different options. We can create the database here directly, or we create here it later and loop it, use a loop and write all the names in. In this case, that the video is not too long, I create it directly, but normally a database will be not created directly because it will all time loop and get the information, for example, names and so, from a list, which opens a file, gets in. But this is a little bit more stuff which we have not discovered yet. And that's why I created directly. I need 10. Very important. I have to write here how many elements I want. I want 10 because I want to check my top 10 list. Okay, 10 I want. Important, later this starts with 0, but here are 10. Okay, let's go on. And I want write it directly, I said this time. I want not assign them later. Of course, you could assign them here one by one, but I can assign them directly in. So let's say I have here numbers. Let's make it easy. 3, and then 22, 30, and then here 111, and then 180, 203, and then something like 354. How many I have here? 3, 6, 7, 3 more. 300, 400, and 500 to make it easy, not to waste too much time here. All right, so I created a database with just numbers, and these numbers are free and so on. So, and let's continue to read here. I want to compare their scores with my database list. So I have the database, and now I have to compare the scores. How I can compare the scores, which means I have saved their scores in my variables. I have to use these variables and compare it with this database. And we learned also this comparison operator, right? We can compare here operators. We have done here some comparison operators. And so far, we can make this. All right. And how we are going to make this? With a for loop. A for loop is all time a nice comparison operator. No, with a if statement normally. We compare something with a if statement, right? Not for loop is more like looping through the whole database. And if is normally our comparing a very good compare structure, because if has all time this condition block, right? And then I can compare this easy with a comparison operator. Let's do this way. So we can compare it with a if, but the problem is I must still go through all the database. So I have used here a combination of loop and a if probably. Let's try this out. Sorry. So let's get started. First of all, let's write a loop, because I know I have to loop this anyhow, anytime. And let's see where. For it starts all time. Here we will write our 3 parts. We have a start condition, then end condition, and then increment, right? We learned that, and between we have this semicolon, semicolon. Let's start. Our start condition, this one is the only place where we have this variable name, which is very short, and we initialize it with 0. It's our start point. Okay. Then our end condition is our last element. So we have here 10. Let's write here I is less than 11, because one more element, because this is a less sign. It must be less than 11. Then in our case, it's even less than 10, I think. I'm not sure. This is 10 or 11. We will see it. But let's write. We will have here a problem perhaps, but we will see it in a moment. And then we have our increment side, right? We increment this one. Plus plus is I. We learned also this one. This is increment. So this was our start point, our end point, our increment, as long as our loop is not our I, also I variable is not greater 10. As long as it is less 10, it will increment. That's the way. Okay, here is the body which will loop all time. And let's print out the database fast for test, how we make this. We learned this also, just easy. We write again std, we colon c out. Then we get here outprint. Then we use the database name. In our case, it's called database. Okay. And in the brackets, in the square brackets, we write now what? Very important, we write this variable main I, because this will replace all time the slots, right? We learned this. And then I can, here one more step, I need all time a new line, so it's not, or you can make here a space. This will work too. Then it's on one line. Let's make this one, not all time a new line. And let's test it. Let's see what we have so far. If this works, we have to see, okay, I have coder, this works, Superman, this works, Superman, this works, score, this time he got 130 and he got 50, this works. And here we have outprinted all our values. And let's see if we have really all here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we have all, which means this one worked because we started here with 0, and where I said here is less than 10, which means it goes to 9, but careful, it goes till 9 because we started with 0. This is, I told you in programming, they start most time with 0, but you have not to start. You could start even here with 1 if you want, because this is a start point definition. But in general, you will see this here. They start all time with 0, and an array, very important. Later, let me show you this fast too. If you have here, for example, if you database, the first element in an array is not 1. That's very important. That's why they start all time with 0. The first element in an array, the first slot, is 0. That's very important to know here as a reminder, and which we have to train as a beginner, because yeah, that makes big problems sometimes. But after you get it and you remember this one and test it all time at start, just test it and think about it. Okay, we have this so far, but we have just a loop so far. Where is our comparison? Now, we, instead of printing them out, of course, we can compare them, right? This is very interesting, why I said it's so important to write programs. Till now, we learned more like this keywords separately, and when we write our programs, we see how they are connecting and using together, right? That's why exercising is so important, and sometimes even more important than just learning the keywords, because here you learn the programming thing and be creative. There are probably different ways to solve this one. You found perhaps a better way or a worse way, it doesn't matter. In the end, which matters is this line. It must do this line. How you solve it doesn't matter at start. Let's continue. So I have this one. I need a comparison, and the best comparison structure we learned so far is a if statement. We can write here the condition which we want, and here we must be creative again. How we use this information within a loop with, yes, how we can compare this one. We say here, for example, the comparison operator is clear. That's very easy. A comparison operator equal something like, or not equal, or something like that we learned. And now we have to compare. How I compare this one. So I can write something like database. I take my database because this database is actually a variable, right? A variable name, not more, not less, but this variable has more data in it. And then I write again just my square brackets. Cool. And then I write here, very important, not the numbers one by one. I write again, I use this for loop. I know this one, this I will be changed every iteration. It starts with 0. Okay, then that's cool. But how I compare this now with this player scores? Very easy. I take the player score player number 1, and then I write it. I have here score player number 1, and I say, oh no, I can't make here an equal operator. Why I can't make here an equal? Because I try not to find an equal operator. I need to find if my score is better than the scores in this database, right? This is now a task to find. And how we can make this? We have now check actually every number here and check if our score is bigger. And if it's bigger, we have to tell that we found at least one time a bigger score. Okay, that sounds a little bit complicated, but it's not. It's very straightforward. What we do is We make not equal sign, we make a greater sign, because no, and very important here is one more mistake, because not the database. Of course you can check also if the database is bigger my score, but I think it's easier the other way around. I check if my player score is bigger of one of the database scores. So I delete this one here and cut this out and write it other way around, which means now I take my score and now I compare if my is bigger than any one of these names. And if it's find one, then we have again do something, and this do something we will do here. But what we have to do here, the next step is first of all, we found something. We could write here std cout found oops, let's write found something. This is the easiest way to say something. Found something. But how we handle that, we have to do this one here. And let's see, what is that here? That was our outprint that we don't need anymore. And we save this, and let's test this code if it's working till this point. And just here I just test one player, that's okay. Later I probably copy just the same code and make it for the other one. So let's continue. Coder, our Superman, our, let's say a number here which is definitely in the database to check it out. Let's make it, this one is definitely in, and this one also. And we have found something, found something, found something, found something, found something, found something. So the good news is it found something. The bad news is it prints all time this found something out, right? So how we can prevent this? We can probably say, okay, there is a keyword which we not really learned right now, which we could use here. So I have to be, perhaps I find here another way to make this, because there I would use now another keyword which we have not discussed here. And so let me make here a break, because this one will take a little bit more, and I have already took a lot of time. We will continue, but think about this solution here, and perhaps I think you have already, I hope you have already made a program by yourself. And I think here also another solution, because I know here an easy way, but this one we have not covered right now. That's the problem. And then in the next video we continue with this one. Okay, see you there. Bye.